And good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Mike, can you see me? Okay, all right. All right. So producer Mike is taking care of me right now. We've had some technical situations happening today, but we're gonna get through this thing today, and it's gonna be all right. Okay, so again, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I say again to you, good morning. It is a great day to be alive. I hope this day finds you well and happy and good health and in peace. Lord, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I need y'all to do me a favor today. I need y'all to tell 2022 to stop killing folks. We have lost way too many people this early in the game. We done lost Sidney Poitier. We lost Meatloaf. My goodness, Peter Bogdanovich. What in the Grim Reaper is going on today, y'all? We need to tell 2022 to sit down, take a seat. They're doing too much already. Okay, so do that for me. If y'all can get that in, go ahead and do that. Now, there are a couple of things that are happening right now that y'all may be a little confused with. Now, I'm letting you know right now that all this right here is not dirt. That is my attempt to grow hair. Yes, it is. I know I haven't done it in a long time, but I'm in a play right now that necessitates me having hair because it's good for my character. But I got to tell you, it's driving me a little bit nuts because number one, I don't have this thick that often. And I'm gonna beat feed it to the barbershop as soon as this play is over to manicure this. Okay. But I think I may try to keep this little hair. I'm not mad with it. But this ain't happening. Y'all see this? This ain't happening. If you stand on top of a chair and look on top of my head, you can see my thoughts. So that's gone. That's not gonna happen. But all this right here, I ain't mad with. I just gotta get comfortable with what's happening. Okay, so that's why I have the hair situation going on. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is I got a couple of questions from people asking me why I don't discuss politics on my show. And there's a very simple answer to that question. I don't want to. Okay. I wish I had something deep to give you. I just do not want to discuss politics on my little show. It's just way too much drama. And people have forgotten the art of having a robust discussion and or debate. People don't know how to do that anymore. So I'm just not going to bring that here. So I appreciate you asking. I appreciate you thinking that I can navigate that well. I'm just not going to do it. I'm never going to discuss politics on this show. It's just way too divisive, and I just don't have the energy for it. I'm getting way too old to argue with people, especially when I know I'm right. Okay. All right. Anyway, so somebody said glue up goatee hair on your head. You know what? I can't even handle that today. Okay, so anyway, if today is your birthday, happy birthday to you. I hope it's everything you wanted and more. If you're selling a wedding at celebrating a wedding anniversary, happy anniversary to you. Congratulations on sticking it out together. And if you're just celebrating being alive today, go for it. Do it all the way live. Okay, so enjoy your day today. I'm very excited. Pardon me, very excited about today because I wanted to start this year off um, talking about something that needs more attention that is getting. It's getting attention now, but for me, it's a little too late, but we need to discuss it. And today we're going to have a discussion about mental health. Okay. We've been in this COVID thing now for a long time. And I know that we have the catchphrases like COVID fatigue. That's a real thing. We are tired. Folks are tired. But on the other side of that, others than just being irritated with wearing a mask, I don't like wearing masks, so I'm going to do it because that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, to get back to whatever the new normal is going to be. But people are tired, but mental health has come to the forefront right now because people are having some issues right now. Our kids haven't been able to go to school. Even some that are going to school right now, some of it is virtual. They have not had that contact. Some of us have been working from home for a long time. I personally love working from home, but some people don't like working from home. Some people are afraid still to go out. Some people still don't do things that at one time were very commonplace. So our mental health has taken a hit, and I got to admit, there have been times where I have been angry and I have known why. And it's just, I think simply because I'm just tired. I'm just tired of all of the extra that's happening in the world right now. So I thankfully have a friend, Susan Bray, shout out to you, um, who's introduced me to a couple of people that I can talk to about mental health. And I want to share that information and their knowledge with you today. And so what I don't want to do is waste a whole lot of time doing other things, but I want to get to them right away. And I just want to remind you before I bring them on, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And then producer Mike, hello, producer Mike, then rarely seen, but always present. I could not do this show without him. We'll read those questions and then send them to me, and we can ask our experts, because I'm not a mental health professional nor a subject matter expert. That's why we have these two people here. So without further ado, I would really like to welcome Mr. Bill Grove and Dianne Gray. Love you too, Susan Bray, to the show. Bill and Dianne, thank you so much again for spending your Saturday with me just for a little bit. I appreciate your expertise, and I'm going to dig into it today. How y'all doing this morning?
Fine, thank you. Okay. Enjoy you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Getting to know you.
Yeah,
oh,
thanks for your warm welcome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys are doing me the favor. Mental health is something that is near. Oh, I have a friend from England saying hello. So she watches. So I'm just saying hello from England, from across the pond, as they say. Yes, they say hello, England. Mental health is something that's really near and dear to my heart. And it doesn't get the attention that it deserves. Mental health is something, in my experience, and again, I'm not an expert, it's something that tends to be reactionary. We don't do anything about it until something happens. Now, I'm going to ask you a few things, and I've read your resumes, and your bios, but our viewers may not know exactly what it is that you do. Okay, so because my parents are Southern, and I come from that stock, I'm gonna start with the ladies first. So Miss Dianne, would you please tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Well, I'm a psychotherapist. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've worked before for an employee assistance program as a counselor, and then went into private practice with Bill. We share an office with another friend too. And I've seen families, I've seen couples, I've seen children, or mainly teenagers. Anyway, I work in just a little office, and also on the phone now because of COVID. I've also met people in parks. We sit 6 feet apart, and that way they can see me and I can see them, and that sometimes is helpful. And I've discovered from what you said too, this has been a really, really hard time for people. Sometimes they don't know it's been hard, but they're angry, or they're fussing, or their marriage has some problems. So, and teenagers aren't getting to do what they want to do, and that's hard for teenagers anyway.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, sir. Your turn, Mr. Bill.
Similar to Dianne, I started working at an agency. Actually, I started working before that at inpatient settings, with adolescents, with substance abusers. Upon getting licensed, I was working at an agency where I met Dianne. From there, I did some work with Children's Hospital for about 10 years. We're in private practice together. And like she's saying, this has been and like you were saying, this has been a really, really hard 2 years for people. Whatever's been going on with them to begin with got worse. And for people that were doing okay, they're not doing okay now. For all the reasons that you've mentioned. I think if you're basically an introvert, you can do a little better than some of the other people who love to get out and connect with people, but it's been difficult. And I see a lot of teens too, with the same thing that Dianne mentioned, being restricted anyway is a problem, let alone being socially cut off. And their peer groups are one of the most important things going for them. If they can't see their peers, they're angry or depressed.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, it's not even just, it's adults as well. I got to be honest with you. I got really lucky when we went down into lockdown initially. I live in an apartment complex and not a house. So the people in my apartment complex, we became our bubble. You know, we were able to sit like on our balconies and talk. You know, we were able to get that interaction with each other. But when you live in a home, in a neighborhood, you know, you kind of miss that, you know. So I got really lucky. And I remember a friend of mine who lived right across the way. Um, I could hear them talk, and he would say, because when this was real new and nobody knew what was going on with this thing, and I could hear him say, "I missed that one," and he was talking about me. And then one day he knocked on the door, you know, which honestly, people forget those little things. I hadn't had a knock on my door in forever, you know, and I opened it and he just burst into tears, you know, because people need that interaction. And I was like, we were just done. And you know what we started doing? We went and got a group of us. We would go get tested together. We got our first shots together. We got our second shots together. We got the third. We just became this random family, you know, that got us through it, you know. And I know a lot of people didn't get that. And I think about our kids right now because I did a little bit of research about mental health. And if I'm getting this accurate, again, I'm just going off of what I'm reading. I'm hoping it's correct information. That's why I'm going to you. The biggest struggle are with people between the ages of 18 and 25. That's where the biggest mental health issues are. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes. And my daughter, who's lived with us since all this began, she's working at a university, and the students came in with horrible anxiety and depression. And there's some from other countries, and they're all, you know, it's really hard time for that age group. You're absolutely right.
Okay, so let me ask you a question before we get into it, because I have tons. I'm gonna try to get this in within 40 minutes. Within 40 minutes. But I will also ask anyone who's watching, if you have a question, please feed it to producer Mike, and we'll send it over to the subject matter experts. Okay. Before we get into the deep meat, let's start with the salad. Okay, let's start with the salad. When it comes to right, when it comes to mental health, what do you think is the biggest misconception? And this can be to either of you or one of you. I don't care. What do you think the biggest misconception is?
Well, I think we're in agreement. I think the biggest thing is that people believe that they will find out that they're crazy. It's the fear of what's going on inside them that keeps people away. And then I think second to that is that they'll be stuck in it forever. And some people have the misconception that it'll be like the old psychoanalysis where you come in and you lie on a couch and someone says nothing. Mm-hmm. I think the final thing would be people believe that the entire time will be spent focused on their childhood and what went on as a child, which is, you know, it's not really accurate. What happens as a child could be very significant, but I think we're more interested in what the resources are that you can pull up now to get over what you're going through rather than living out the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
I
sorry.
was just going to say, I agree. Also, I think that when you come into it and you think that someone's going to think they're going to label you as something. And then how do I get past that? Instead of, we all have problems. And this is a person I can talk to who maybe gives me ideas or how to deal with these problems or how I'm feeling. You know, it's basically that. It's a friend that kind of has knowledge to help you. Okay.
I get, again, being completely transparent. There have been times where I just found myself like crying for no reason. At least I didn't know what the reason was, is what I'm saying. And then I was sleeping, you know, or I just was unmotivated and I couldn't understand why, because nothing was necessarily going wrong. It was just, but I think that, and I have gone through a therapist before. I just think that it's like, I can't do this by myself, and what friends mean well, and they try to give you good advice, but sometimes you got to get outside that bubble. And I know, and I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm a straight shooter. You don't know me that well, but I'm a straight shooter. African Americans typically have a history of not seeking out therapy because there's a stigma, as you mentioned a minute ago, attached to it. Um, have you had any interactions with African Americans with regards to therapy during the COVID time?
Well, I have with students, not seeking me
Students.
out personally. I
Mm.
do teach at a graduate school, and some of my students have been Black, and actually that has been the interaction I've had. But I haven't had any calls at the office, and that might be for the reasons you seek, or the reasons that you're talking about, rather.
Yeah, and maybe where we're located too,
Okay. Okay.
it could be that. And I haven't either. I haven't had much interaction. I'm perfectly happy to work with any group of people,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
yeah, and I'm so white.
Yeah, we're the poster
Sorry.
couple for privilege, Tony. If you need to take, we'll be here for autographs later. if you want.
Okay. Okay. You guys you can't take that left on me like that. You just
All right,
can't
just, look,
Sorry.
took some license.
No, but I've worked like you. I've worked in theater
Oh yeah.
for fun, and so yes, I've been with a lot of people of color,
Mhm.
but doing that more than as a therapist.
Well, you know what? For me, truth is truth. Help is help, no matter what the vessel is. So, and I'm completely open with that. But again, just as a side note, and I still have questions here. Um, um, as a side note, even when I was seeking out a therapist, it was hard for me to find an African American therapist. Just being completely candid. But I knew that I needed that outlet. I needed somebody to talk to, other than my friends who, again, most are very smart, well intentioned, but sometimes you got to dig a little bit deeper with someone who has a better X-Acto knife, if you will, to kind of get through the heart of the situation. Okay, so back to the whole thing here. You both work with adolescents and teens, respectively. Okay. Again, that's the group that is identified as being the most in need right now. But I'm also noticing the research I've done is that the age group below that, those numbers are rising. These kids are in need of mental health. What do you tell a 12-year-old who doesn't feel like life matters anymore? I mean, you see these stories, you watch TV, you see the news, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because at 12, your worries are minimal, or at least they should be. What do you tell a child? And then I want to get to the 18 to 25 year. What do you tell a child who is having that type of dilemma?
Actually, since that's also a kind of a prepubescent age, it's
Mhm,
when you're changing already.
mhm,
Your body's changing, that your voice is changing. If you're a little boy,
mhm.
everything is different anyway. Then with this on top of it, it's quite a dilemma. So what I would say is, tell me what's going on with you. How are you feeling? What do you love to do? I know that's simple, and it has little to do with COVID, but it's
Mhm,
like, what is it that makes your heart happy? And we kind of start from there usually with me,
mhm.
because the problems are there and they're going to get to it. But in the beginning, I want them to know that this is a safe person, that they can talk about what they love in life or what they're looking forward to. And then later it comes out that they're really upset, really worried about the world, worried about their
Mhm.
future, worried about their parents. A lot of times what they're worried about is their parents. They
Mm.
have to, something might happen to mom or dad. Then what happens? That,
Mhm.
and then you just talk it through with them. Hopefully they have parents that wouldn't mind coming in
Mhm.
with them some of the time. So that's kind of how I handle it usually.
Yeah, you spoke about what I was going to say is at some point to get the family involved, because that's their microcosm right now. If they're not going to school, many of them are going back to class. They're wearing
Mhm.
masks.
Mhm.
Um, some of them are still doing hybrid classes that are online, but they're often reacted at that age. They're often reacting to family as well. And if parents are worried, depressed, if parents are angry, if parents are coping with alcohol or any other way of trying to get out of their reality, this is affecting them. It's in a big way. And so they've taken on some of this feeling. And like you said, you're kind of talking about all the people that have recently passed away. There's a lot of grief. There's just a
Mhm.
lot of grief out there in general. And parents are down, they're carrying it with them. And all the stressors that are in the family interacting on the child. They're not getting tremendous support outside of the family at this point. Some schools do offer some mental health, but not as much as they really should, as you're aware. There's an
Mhm.
overabundance of problems and underabundance of resources at this point. But these little people carry these big problems inside of them. And the other thing is, families being busy. How often, as a 12-year-old, do you get to have a undivided attention for an hour? And that could be real curative in itself, just to have someone there that cares about them, that tells them, that can reflect back what's going on, and then give them hopefully some solutions to get out of the state they're in.
What are when you meet adults?
Mhm.
What are they telling? Because I again looking at the research, and again, I'm not a master of this whole thing, but the one thing that kept popping up was anxiety was the number one thing. Everyone's anxious. And when you talk to parents, are you finding that that's what they're dealing with? They're just anxious.
Anxiety can take different forms too. You could just be angry a lot because you don't know what to do about it. You're just scared.
Mm.
Scared for yourself, scared for your kids, angry that maybe nobody's fixing this for us. Like with what's the government doing?
Mhm.
Why are they not doing more? Why are we why do we have to wear masks?
Mhm.
It's like, you just do.
Mhm.
But
Right.
still, yeah, I know it's a funny time too. It's like a time of in between. We don't know the future really. We're trying to work towards a more not normal. There's no such thing as normal, but the way you feel normal
Mhm.
in it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So let
Also,
me.
economic uncertainty, Tony.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have been laid off. A lot of people voluntarily left their job because it was dangerous. They considered it dangerous. So
4.6 million people left their job like last month. If I'm getting it right, 4.6 million people just said, "I'm done." It's okay. So I'm sorry I interrupted, but
it's okay. That's
yeah.
okay. I was just saying that's a big part of it. And of course, with any anxiety, it's because there's an unknown future. And whereas we thought maybe this thing will be over with by, summer of 2000, there's a new variant.
Mhm.
And yet there's another one. And so it's really hard to say when we're going to return to whatever you call normal. Things just keep popping up, and we're always living in a state of not knowing, which is perfect. It's a fertile ground for anxious thinking, catastrophizing, just dreading, just living in dread. So a lot of adults who are looking at these big adult responsibilities, childcare, the future of their family, being able to pay off their bills. That's a big one right now for people.
Mhm. Yes, I gotta be honest with you. And again, being completely transparent and being completely real, there were times where things were really tight here, and what people don't talk about is that like there was a period of time if I didn't have overdraft protection in my bank account, I would have been in trouble. you know and people are living with that monkey on their back like that day to day to day to day. Some people, and you don't know, I work with people who get public assistance, and those people are not trying to get from day to day, they're trying to get through the hour to hour, some minute from the minute. And when you add this pandemic on top of that with all that extra uncertainty, that can get to you. So that segue makes me want to ask this question to you. I always want to know, um, if you're a barber, who cuts your hair? If you're a doctor, who gives you medical attention? And if you are a therapist like you are, how do you two? And I would love to hear from both of you individually on this particular question. How have you managed? Because you're humans first. Your degrees are secondary. You
Right.
know, um, how have you managed this thing for almost 2 years now? How have you dealt with it?
Well, I'll start.
Yeah.
We actually have gotten better at talking to each other about the stressors that we're going through. The family is very important. As Dianne said, we have a stepdaughter that lives with us, or her daughter. And so the family unit can talk about all these things. We can discharge our anger, blow off our tensions, get support from each other. That's been extremely helpful. And I do a lot of mindfulness stuff for myself. In other words, I don't really know what's going to happen a year from now. I can worry about it, but I try to spend more time appreciating what's happening closer to the moment as I can, and being kind of in charge of my own happiness, connecting with Dianne and walking around in the world and seeing the things that are just really nice that are happening. And then keeping my distance from a lot of the news, a lot of social media that's erosive to my mental health. That's kind of what I'm doing.
Um, yeah, he's right. But also I see a therapist once a month that is like a supervisor for me, helps me keep kind of clear of what's going on with me. So when I work with my clients, it's all not all about me. But also I think it's been very hard. I was in a play with my younger daughter. She has a little theater that they pretty much shut down in Ocean Beach. And we were just about to open, and we had to shut it down. And the people in it was so sad for everybody. The good thing was the traffic. Sorry, that's so silly, but
No, I get it.
yeah, it was
I get
great.
it.
But anyway, those that was joy for me, being in a play. I played a little part, but I had so much fun. And then in being with my daughter. And when my other older daughter moved in with it was hard at first for all of us. We live in a tiny little townhouse condo, and we 2 bedrooms, and she has one. And we kind of reinvented how everything is, so Bill could do Zoom in our bedroom. And I started seeing people in the park or talking on the phone with them. Rarely did I do Zoom. It wasn't a preference for most people. I'm quite a bit older than Bill, and I was getting ready to see fewer people because now I had some Social Security, and I thought, well, maybe I don't have to work as much. I could do other things, but also I didn't want to give up these clients I'd been seeing that were going through awful stuff. Work wasn't listening. And they didn't mean not to. You could tell the work was trying to do the best thing, but with not hearing how people were feeling. Suddenly saying you have to work out of home. I had one person who hated working out of home and then learned to love it. And now they want her to come back. She wants to stay working out of home, which makes sense. But it's been hard. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think mostly having Bill and having my daughter here and going for walks and having a dog, those kinds of things are really helpful.
Okay, so you brought up a point that's interesting to me, because you guys have each other. I mean, I have a partner, and so that makes it a little bit easier. You have access to somebody. What do you say to the person that doesn't have that? Say the single person who lives in a house by themselves. Maybe it's something that's not quite like I live in essentially downtown Riverside, California, but someone who might live in a place that is not, the houses are not close together. They've had to go through this thing by themselves. How do you tell them? Or even if they live somewhere near, but they're just so terrified of this thing, they don't want to go out. I mean, this thing, to be honest with you, has really paralyzed a lot of people from doing basic stuff. What do you say to the single person who is absolutely terrified to get back out into the world again.
Well, they have to be safe and they have to operate within their degree of safety. And for some people, there are people who really, at this point in time, aren't going outside. We know some people like that. But I would say one of the first things is just the medium we're on today, which is that you can use Zoom, you can use some of the other FaceTime, other kind of applications, reach out to old friends. They have to do a little bit of their own, how would I say, seed planting. They have to do a little bit of their harvesting. Maybe connect with old people, connect with some faraway family. And then there are some chat groups, things like that, where they can begin to talk with people. But if they're looking for connection, that would be the safest way to do it at this point. Or there may be some groups that meet outside. As Dianne says, she meets with people in the park. If they can find something like that, where they can connect with someone, but that would be the most vulnerable population. I'm thinking of seniors or people that live in very, very remote areas that are highly, highly susceptible to becoming depressed or anxious. They just don't have that human connection that you're referring to.
I know out here in California, where I live, there's this giant push for caregivers. You know, I mean, a giant need, because you mentioned when you said seniors, that made me think about it, because part of my job is to try to help people find a job. But that is a population that is needed out here, because our seniors are by themselves. But there's also a population of workers that are in direct contact to one of our most vulnerable communities to the COVID. Okay, so I'm going to ask your advice again. If I'm dealing with a senior, how do I encourage a senior? What do I say to them to help them get through the day? Because again, I'm 53 years old. I love being older, but I'm telling you, I've given up. And you said this, Bill. I am not trying to figure out what happens a year from now, because all bets are off. You just don't know anymore. I'm just trying to get through the day and or the hour. What do I tell a senior? How do I encourage a senior? What do I do?
Well, the first thing you've alluded to are services that could be available. I think many seniors who are cut off aren't aware of what's there. Like you said, you help people get work and so forth, but there are, senior services, there are caregivers. I think the other thing would be to help a senior connect with what's most meaningful to them right now. And not just frivolous activities. The interesting thing, I know when COVID started, everyone was going to learn a foreign language or read the great books or do a 10,000 piece puzzle, and then it never happened. Right.
I'm a puzzle guy. I've done 9,000 puzzles since COVID. I've done 1,000,000. Okay. So, yes.
We did 9,000 hours of Netflix, so that's an acceptable substitute. But I would find something that's really meaningful to them. And for some people, it may be art, it may be projects, and maybe putting things together. It could be scrapbooking. These all sound rather frivolous, but for some people, really, really connect with them. For some people, writing. There are applications online where there's voice to type. Some people want to put together their memoirs. If it's meaningful to them, and they find great value in it, and they haven't thought about it before, it's going to help them. And one of the things that's true now is people forget what was most important because some of our outside distractions have been taken away. And it may be that there's distant family they need to connect with, and they would like to connect with and reach out to that. But again, that in senior services, what's available through the county or what's available through their local government could be very, very helpful for them.
And Dianne, I'm going to point this to you, if I may. What practical things can people do? Because one thing, it sounds weird, but I'm about to say it out loud. It sounds weird, but it seems like what this pandemic has done positively, go with me here, it has made us really realize how important the minor things are. Like the simple things that we took for granted. just, and I know I'm guilty of that very thing. Like I haven't, my mother lives in Chicago and I haven't seen her in so long. Um, but I am, while I've gone to the movies, I'm still super apprehensive about getting on a plane, because my mother's older. And I know I'm 3 shots in. So I'm not worried about that, but I'm nervous about getting on the plane. And I really want to see her. I talk to her several times a week. But what are some practical things we could do to get ourselves in a better place? I mean, I guess I'm asking. I know it's a heavy lift. I'm asking y'all I'm asking y'all to fix the world's problems on this little show. Okay, but it's something practical.
Well, I am a senior. I'm one of those. I hate to tell my age, but I'm going to be 80 later this year. So I'm
Okay,
79.
No,
I
I
know.
gotta
You don't know.
stop you. I gotta stop you.
No,
I
I
gotta
know.
stop you. There's nothing about you that reads that you're about to be 80 years old.
There are.
Come on. I personally think you might be a vampire. You do not
Oh,
look like you're about to be 80. Come on now. You
no,
gonna
I
back me
am.
up? You gonna back me up here, Bill?
What's that?
You gonna back me up here?
Well, I will say publicly, she's not a vampire.
Okay.
And then I
Thank you for clearing that up, because I was going to spread that narrative out there.
and if you could let me know later about the secret of hair growth, please just private message me. Let me know about that, Tony.
Bruh, do I look like a subject matter? Look at that. You can see
Yeah.
my thoughts. Can't you see that?
I can see that's your thinking. I can see it.
Anyway, what I was going to say is the therapist I see that I've known for years and years, and is like a supervisor for me for my work. He was saying, because I was not doing anything when I wasn't seeing clients, I was doing nothing. I was thinking I was going to write, I was going to do memoirs, I was going to do all these things that I love to do. I was going to play my guitar, I was going to learn this, and I did nothing. I watched TV, and he said, this was magical to me. He said, what is it you wake up in the morning and think, oh, I wish I could do that, or I want to do that. I'm going to go walk on the beach by myself with the dog, or I'm going to start writing. And then you don't. The day goes by and you watch TV. That's the problem. It's not that you have these desires, it's that you don't do them. So,
Ooh.
yeah, it's like I woke up thinking I'm going to walk the dog on the beach because it makes me feel better, and then I don't do it. Each time I don't do it, I'm not living my life. And that's what I would try to help people see. When you don't do something you know would almost magical for you to do that. Especially kids sometimes will look at it like, I can't, nobody will let me. It's not nobody with me. It's definitely me. It's nobody else that's telling me I can't walk to the beach. It's me that's not doing it. So I've been trying real hard to look at that in the morning or during the day. When I want to do something, go do it. It doesn't mean carelessly, like suddenly I'm going to take off my mask and go into a crowd, because to me that would be foolish. But that's kind of simple, and I don't even know if that's helpful.
Please do not. Oprah back in the day used to have she used to call an aha moment.
Yeah,
that's pretty profound what you just said right there. Even heard producer Mike make a sound when you said that. It's not that somebody's telling you that you can't do something that makes you feel good. You're doing that yourself. That's really simply profound.
I thought so too. I really thought I'm working on it.
I think that's fantastic. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget that.
I have to tell Larry, give him credit.
Yes, please do. Please do. Bill, do you have something practical advice for people?
Very simple one is stay out of immobility. There's something about being sedentary over time that leads to these mental health problems. For example, I'll see people maybe 3 hours in the morning. At lunchtime, I'll get out and I'll walk for half an hour. And it's just being outside. It's looking at things that are growing, life around me. Dogs in the yards, birds flying around, the sun's out. that really helps. But if I become sedentary, and there are people who won't get out of their pajamas or anything like that for a long time, that really leads to this feeling of isolation, being closed in, lack of autonomy, not being able to do what Dianne was talking about, saying, I need to get these restrictions out of the way. I want to get out. I want to start doing stuff, and no one's holding me back. No one's holding me back. If I want to start walking, I can do it.
Now,
So that would be just move. Just move is a big one.
again, simple, but we don't think about these things. Again, we've just gotten so used to just nothing, so those are little things. Boy, those are great. And when I post this to YouTube, I hope people key in on that. Question for you, Mike, how am I on time? Okay. All right. I just run my mouth, so I don't pay attention.
right.
No,
to
you
when I
don't.
did
You're,
that.
you're a joy.
Yeah, you're great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question for you. Social media during COVID, and you even alluded to this. Most people ended up, you, Dianne, I'm sorry, I'm acting like you're right here. People, streaming services have taken off in ways that we have not seen before. I have some, and I haven't even watched them. I'm paying for them. I just needed to have it. When I weren't doing a Jizzle post, I was watching TV or Spotifying, whatever the case may be. Just all this external, and I've become a news junkie, which I've had to go on a news fast because that can drive you out of your mind if you watch too much news. But how do you navigate social media during COVID-19? Because people, are in the house. People are working from home. Like, when I work from home, the news is on, or I'm playing music, or it's just this barrage, doing the social media. How do you tell people? How do you help people navigate or balance? I guess is the word I'm looking for. How do you balance that? How do you teach a person to balance that?
Well, the easiest way is to, like you started to allude to, restrict yourself, put yourself on a video diet. How much is really good for you? And for everyone, we have a different capacity for tolerating different opinions and then feeling okay. When you're not feeling okay, it's probably because you've gone past that limit. And for example, for me, I won't watch anything that's going to be disturbing, be it the news or anything. Look at anything on Facebook a couple hours before I go to sleep. I don't want that floating around in my head, right, when I'm sleeping. And because a lot of the news services get their revenue off of following down their viewership and coming up with dangerous, fearful things, that tends to be the content. There's only so much news. The rest of it, as you well know, is editorializing or reworking the same problem. So it's not good. And I would tell people, if you need to get news, just get whatever happened. Restrict yourself from all the, I would say, the talking heads, all the opinions about it, everything else. It's not worth it. The news probably boils down to 15 minutes. I think everything else on top of that is the drama. It's the lure, the hooks to keep you in on that stuff. And it will just take you down. In fact, one experiment you might want to try, if you're not feeling good, I would suggest, why don't you just not look at anything for 2 days and see how you feel? Aside from the withdrawal symptoms, which is, gosh, I got to find out what's going on, what's happening, who died, who did. Aside from that, how do you feel? And you can gauge for yourself what the impact of either news or social media has been doing for you or to you.
Yeah, I agree. I just usually say, how much are you watching on the news? What types of shows do you watch? To be perfectly honest, I kind of almost never go on Facebook anymore. And I have, yeah, and I don't want the anger. And that's not, I don't see that much anger, to be perfectly honest. But I love getting pictures, photos of that. We have a great grandchild now, and she's the most wonderful little thing that we can actually see, go to see. We're all careful, but we see her. And then we have two that live in New Zealand with my granddaughter, which is really hard because my daughter hasn't been able to even see her grandchildren, except on, we're so lucky. That's another thing I bring up sometimes. This is a time when even if you're miles and miles away, you can still see somebody's face. You can still hear their voice. In the days that people drove across the country to live in another place, they never connected. They lost everyone from their family. We're lucky we have that.
Mhm.
And I agree with you. I think this could be a time that's going to make good changes. It just may take time.
Mhm.
We have to pay attention to our environment, because the point is, will we all be here one day? If we don't do that, all the other things matter, but they don't matter as much as keeping our world safe. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just like to talk with people and let them give me their ideas.
You know what? I like talking with people too. I am absolutely an extrovert. I get my energy from people. So the COVID thing was really hard for me. Not having, I'm sorry.
I say you guys did such a good thing by all talking on your balconies. What a good idea.
Great idea.
Oh, it sounds cliche, but it really was like oxygen. I was like, but I'm also a physical touch person. I hug my friends, I kiss my friends. It's just a whole thing. So to have that go away was really difficult, you know. And then to find out that, when you're being careful and some of your friends are not on the same page with you with regards to the vaccines type of thing, that can be a challenge as well. But yeah, so I gosh, I wish I'm gonna have to have y'all back.
Okay, we'd love to
Thank
come
you.
back.
Thank
I'm gonna have
you.
to, because I can, let's put this down right now, because isn't May Mental Health Awareness Month? If I'm not getting that wrong, I think it's in May. Okay.
I'm not sure either.
But
I
I'm
think
gonna
it is
look,
too.
but I would love to kind of do this again to see where we are. Because if things are going the way they seem to be going, I have all my fingers crossed, we should be out of the woods with this pandemic thing, at least some semblance of normal by May. Okay, by all the numbers that are coming out right now. Um, and it would be nice to see how we are changed, because again, the thing with mental health for me is that it's always been there. It's just certain things tend to bring it up even more. It's just like a couple of nights ago, there was a guy walking down the street about 2 o'clock in the morning, having a conversation by himself, you know. And every time I see that, and I work with that population quite a bit, and every time I see stuff like that, I always wonder, like, what got this individual to that spot? What happened? And a lot of it is untreated, and because there's a stigma to it, people are afraid of it. And I just think I can't help but wonder when I see stuff like that, if someone had just taken a minute to sit down with him or her and had a conversation. How you doing? You know, for me, I simplify things sometimes. I don't think it needs to be deep. Sometimes the simple is the best. Sometimes you just need a meat and potato. That's all you need. you know, and I think we overcomplicate these things sometimes. So I was really excited to have you. And I'll have you guys back again in because I like you guys both. I like you a lot. I think you're fantastic.
You too,
And
Tony.
great, but
Yes,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But okay, so here's what I would love to say. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I know we have some people paying attention. I know my mother did.
Oh,
I know she took, which my mother. I'm just so when I said that, now she knows why I'm not flying there. I'm probably going to get a phone call. That's a great excuse. my
Tony,
mother. So my mother.
call me more.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble probably. But anyway, but it's the truth. But I want to again reiterate how much I appreciate your time to talk about this. And we don't talk about this enough. We really don't. And it doesn't have to be deep. And when we talk about mental health, it doesn't mean you're crazy, you know. It just means that you're taking care of yourself. You know, we'll go on a diet, we'll exercise, but we don't take care of this here. We don't pay attention to that right there. And I wanted to bring this to at least the forefront. I want to do this more often. So again, I cannot reiterate how much I appreciate your time on this Saturday morning. And I hope you guys are well. And I hope to talk to you again. I hope we stay in touch. Oh, question. Are either of you published? Any
No.
books or writings, anything like that? I
No.
just want to be sure in case I need to plug something.
That was awfully nice. We
So
can plug our invisible book.
there you go. Okay, well, you got the time. Maybe you should write one. Maybe you should write that memoir, Miss Dianne. You mentioned it. I'm just saying.
Uh,
Just saying. You said it. You said it.
I did. But
And
there's-
ain't nobody stopping you but you. You said that. I'm
No,
not forgetting that. That was
Thank
like
you.
my aha moment. I am not gonna forget that. Ain't nobody stopping you but you. And I'm giving that to you, girl.
There you
I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay.
we might miss
Wait,
out.
wait.
We might miss out on some really good streaming entertainment though if we do something productive.
I know though. There's some good stuff out there right now.
There sure is.
I know. I've watched some really bad stuff too. But there are some good things out there.
There was one thing I didn't say earlier that I just want to say real quickly. For people that are looking for a therapist and they're worried about it, they're not sure, and they
Mhm.
finally find someone, and it's through their insurance. Hey, they call their insurance and they got names, and they go to see the person, and the person is not good, not helpful, not there. And they turn right around and call again.
Mhm.
People don't realize they can do that. They can say, we didn't hit it off. It wasn't comfortable for me. That's why if by chance you had an EAP where you can go, employee assistance program,
Mhm.
it really helps. You can even say, I want to see an African-American person. I
Mhm.
want to see somebody because I'm Hispanic who may help me, but I think people don't realize that. You can ask for what you want.
Right.
Oh,
So-
that's really good. I'm so glad you brought that up because I did have that experience. I went through a few of those through the county EAP. And I did a few of them. I'm just like, ugh,
Oh, no, and
ugh.
then you're
I'm
thinking,
like, I feel worse. I just like
Well,
I'm leaving you and going to the bar, and it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't think that's the way this works.
you have to know that. You have to know that everybody's not like that. I would get complaints when I worked for the EAP, and I thought, oh my God, this person is never going to go see someone again because they had this awful, this person who had no charisma, no thinking, no caring, no empathy. I don't know how they got licensed, but it happens. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in.
I appreciate that, but I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you not to cut yourself off. I'm just going to ask you to, because I want to talk to you when I'm done. I want to put
sure.
something up on the screen for our customers to see, for our customers, sorry, for our viewers to see. But I want to touch base with you when this is all over. But I want to put something up. So if you
Stick
can
around.
just mute yourself and turn your video off. And thank you again. Thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Yes,
Of
thank you.
course, we'll do this again.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I would do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yes. Okay, so keep me on mic. What I wanted, what am I doing? I'm doing something wrong. Oh, is that there? Is that there? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what you did see, can I get that bigger or no? Okay, so so I want to thank Bill and Dianne again for their time this Saturday morning. But I did want to put something up on the screen for you. In the event that you are having some type of emotional distress, here's some 5 action steps for you. Now, this doesn't mean you're a clinician or you're a psychiatrist, but I thought this was really important for you. If you are dealing with someone who is in emotional pain, I want you to look at these 5 steps. Okay. The first thing is ask a question. It may not be comfortable for you, okay, to ask that question. But if this is someone you love, this is someone you care about, you have to be courageous enough to ask them some of the tough questions and make sure that you're okay, that they're okay. The second thing is say, keep them safe. Okay. If a friend is in need, let them stay with you. Take them out to a lunch, take them out to a dinner, take them out to a breakfast, go shopping, whatever the case may be. You want to keep them safe. Okay. All right. The third thing is to be there, be present. Okay. Sometimes it's not always about you, it's about them. Sometimes you just need to hush, let them talk, go ahead and listen to what's going on in their lives. Because a lot of times we think we know our friends and we know what they're going through, but we really don't. So we need to learn how to listen a little bit better. This is the most important one for me. Number 4, help them connect. The number that you see on the screen, and I hope you can see it well, is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. It is 1-800-273-TALK. I used to know what those numbers were, but you can figure it out on your phone. But again, it's 1-800-273-TALK. And no matter where you are, it's 365 days out of the year, 24 hours a day. They will get you somewhere local. They can connect you to somewhere local if you're having a situation. Even if you're not planning on harming yourself and you just need somebody to talk to, this is a great resource for you. Please write that down. Even if it's not for you, pass it on to somebody else or write it down in case you need it. Okay. And they will connect you with someone who can talk you through this thing and help you deal with whatever you're going through. And it's a really great resource. The 5th thing is stay connected. Don't just drop your friends off. Okay. Even if you think the crisis is over, it may not be. Okay. So stay in contact with them. All right. Don't just let them go. Okay. Be a friend. Okay. So be a friend, because a good friend is one who's there when you need them, whenever they need them. All right. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. I will post this to YouTube. We had a few technical difficulties today, so I wasn't able to stream it live, but I will post it to YouTube. If you want to watch it a little bit later on, you can always watch it here on Facebook again. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with me. And I hope you have a fantastic day, however that is. Take care of yourself today, however that looks like. Take a walk outside. And remember, as my good friend Dianne said today, nothing's stopping you but you. Take care of yourself and be well. Mwah. Have a good day, everybody.